Well, this one's an interesting one. This bike is going to be a challenge. I just bought it from a police officer, so you would think the bike would be in kind of good condition. At least all the paperwork is dialed in. Imagine it wouldn't be. Lol. This is a 2009 SKYTEAM BADBOY or PBR as they say in Europe. It's a 50cc 4-stroke bike that has the same type of engine as a Honda CT and ST50s. But of course it's Chinese. When I test drove it, it shifted fine, but the engine was already hot when I got there. That's never a good sign. Oil seemed to be fine as well, so I thought I'd take the risk. I paid $450 for it. Let's see if we can get it looking somewhat decent and fix some of the issues on this bike. As you're able to tell from the video, the bike is in desperate need of some visual improvements. Mechanically, the bike should be sound. When I got to the buyer and I tested compression already, and it was at 130 psi. So top end should be great. We'll see. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is give this bad boy a bad wash. This is always the first thing we do. So I just scrub it down, spray it down, scrub it down, spray it down a few times until most of the grime and dirt is gone. This process might look quick, but it's at 20 times the speed right now, so actually it takes a little while. So now that we're done cleaning the bike, it's time to have a look around and see what we're working with. As you can see, we managed to clean off most of the dirt and oil. However, I was kind of hoping that some of the paint, like on the front forks, would get removed from pressure washing, and that other paint, like on the rear swing arm and on the exhaust, wouldn't chip off from pressure washing. So yeah, this bike is already proven to be a pain just while washing it. And if you pay close attention right now to my leg, that's a burning wound from this exhaust from when I went to buy it. And as you will be able to see in 1 second, I will cut myself on the exhaust pipe. But you won't see anything, but I will feel it though. See me move it and shnaka, there we go. That was so fucking painful afterwards. No, it wasn't that painful, but it itched, like it was so itchy for like 2 days straight. So yeah, be aware of when buying second-hand bikes that there might be some metal parts sticking out. Okay, so another weird thing about this bike is that the ignition switch apparently has to be in the center for it to have ignition. So not to the right position or left, but just the center position. Okay, let's just check out this fuel cap, because let's check if it's venting or not, because if it's pulling vacuum, it's not good for the bike. First, let's check if the tank is rusty, and it looks quite okay. Now let's see if we can make a hole into this fuel cap so there's 100% no vacuum issue. And as you're able to tell here, there's like this weird springy, like what? So yeah, took that out, and let's see if it still opens and closes right. Apparently it does, so okay, which is great. Let's move on to the next thing. First, let's take off the seats, and I was actually surprised. It's only being held on by one nut. Okay, now it's time to start inspecting the engine. So first thing we do is we pull out the spark plug and take off the boot. Then we strip back a piece of the boot, like 1/4 inch, and we put the boot back together. And then we test for spark. So first let's take out the plug. Now let's connect the plug to the side of the head and let's show you if it sparks or not. And as you're hopefully able to tell, we do have spark. But if you're watching the video at this moment, make sure to subscribe and like, and please place a comment, whatever comment you would like. If it's a question, if it's a statement, if it's what I can improve, just let me know, because yeah, it helps the algorithm and I would appreciate it personally. So thanks. Okay, now it's time to install a new handlebar grip. So first I clean it up with some brake cleaner and a scuff pad, and then I actually apply some super glue. A lot of people also use hairspray, but I've tried it in the past and super glue seems to work better in my opinion. So yeah, just add some super glue, twist it around a few times so it's evenly dispersed, and then you just let it dry and clean up the rest of like residue. Okay, now it's time to have a look at our valve timing and clearance. So first we take off the cylinder head cover or the cam chain cover, sprocket cover. Then we take off the caps on the flywheel cover. However, this top one didn't want to budge, so I ended up taking off the whole flywheel cover in one piece. So yeah, as you can see, I'm struggling even with WD-40. This thing doesn't get loose. I saw, however, 2Vintage, shout out to him, I saw him do it with a flathead screwdriver and a hammer. So I'm gonna do that in the future, but for now I just did it like this. Let's take off this final bolt. It's just a few M8 bolts, and then the cover should come flying off, because it's a flywheel cover. So yeah, time to clean the contacts, check out the magneto, clean it as well. Here I'm rotating the engine by hand, as you can see, just to find the top dead center. For top dead center, you want your mark on the flywheel to be aligned with the casing, as you can see here. Make sure it's the T, not the F, because F is for fire, which is to set up your ignition timing, not your clearance, your valve timing. So as you can see here on the cam sprocket, this one dot has to be aligned with the markings on the cylinder head, as you can see here, and it's one tooth off, as you can see. So I'm wondering if that's the reason why this bike has trouble idling and starting up and revving out, and I'm quite sure it will be the issue. We'll see, let's hope it is, Okay, now it's time to take off our valve covers. It's just a 17 mils bolt or socket to use. They can be pretty stuck on, so I recommend using a ratchet for it, not just a standard wrench. Sorry by the way that the video is not correctly in the image, but here you can see me taking off the bottom valve cover. As you can see here, I'm trying it with a normal wrench. This was one of my first flips, so now I always do it with as you can tell by the video, this sucker wasn't budging at all. So even with hitting it with a hammer on the wrench, it was still not budging. So I ended up getting a socket wrench for it, and then I pulled it off with a breaker bar, and I pulled it off in 2 seconds without any issues or effort. Okay, now it's time to remove the cam chain sprocket, which is actually very simple, as you can see me do here. So you just grab the flywheel with one hand, and there are 3 9mm bolts, and just unscrew them or unbolt them. Then you can just take off the chain sprocket, and now we're just gonna take it out and literally just make sure it moves like one teeth on the chain, and then we're gonna put it back together and see if it aligns. If it does, we will just tighten down those 3 bolts again and rotate the engine 2 times to see if the markings are still aligned, and if they are, we've done everything correctly. Let's see. Okay, so sprockets back in place. Let's rotate the engine. And as you can see, it's not a tooth off anymore. So now it's time to check the valve clearance. On the bottom end valve, we want around 0.08 millimeters. You use a feeler gauge for this, and you just tighten them. If you want a separate tutorial on how to do this, I can make a video on this, no problem. For the top valve, you want 0.05 millimeters of play. Okay, now it's time to take this carb off. Just 2 10mm bolts. Actually, one was 8 and one is 10, so yeah. Now I'm just double checking if the throttle cable isn't budging, and it is, so I'm gonna order a new kit for this. So I noticed the part where it was rubbing had been rubbing against the inside of the housing, so I decided to file it down, as you can see me do here, and cut it off, the piece off with the small saw, and then test it out again. And as you're able to tell, this sadly enough didn't fix it, so I was like, yo, let's call it quits, and let's just write it down and order up a new complete set. Okay, so back to the carb. Let's check out this air filter. Looks okay, and then let's open up this carb and give it a good clean. Not much to say here, just taking apart the carb. Okay, so here we're using some carb cleaner to spray into all the passageways. Let it soak a little bit. As I'm saying, guys, this was the beginning of my flip journey a few months ago, so I didn't have all the tools or knowledge. That's why these recordings are, a lot of them are fast forwarded, because half of the time I was just using ChatGPT to ask what to do or how to do it. So, also, it's better to also, after using brake cleaner, to blow it all the passageways and jets out with compressed air, and then let it all the things sit in a ultrasonic cleaner. That's the best way to go about it. Right now I already have compressed air, so that's great, but still wait on an ultrasonic cleaner. So subscribe for an ultrasonic cleaner, please. Right, this carb wasn't that dirty to begin with, just the jets were clogged. Because they're so tiny, it's like a 25 pilot jet and like a 52 or 55 main jet, so yeah. They get clogged by a hair, literally. At least the pilot jet. Right here I'm putting the carb back together again. Sadly enough, it wasn't any image, so sorry for that. Right, time to slap back on this flywheel and the cam chain sprocket cover, flywheel cover, and the caps. Also, look what I just found. A weird piece of wire that's not even connected to anything. Ground wire, old ground wire that's been cut. Now it's put back together. Put the air filter back on, tighten it firmly, and here I'm just adjusting, yeah, pun intended, just adjusting the clutch cable and lubricating it a bit. Doing the same with the throttle cable, just to make sure it's all lubed up. It's better when it's lubed up, that's what she said. And as every motorhead ever said, while you're in it, you better do it. So that's what I did. Took out these old fuel lines. As you can see, they're so old they just break off. Put fresh ones on, and we should be good to go. Also, let's install a brand new fuel filter. I recommend to always do this, because especially on these 50cc small engines, the tiniest pieces of dirt and grime can clog up your main, like your pilot jet, or even your main jet, but mostly your pilot jet. Yeah, it's time to put it all back together again, and then we can finally see if and how she runs. Okay. Okay, now that she's mostly back together again, even though we don't have throttle, still gonna try to make it run. You know how it goes. However, it's not starting. Watch this. So take it outside. Still don't start. Start, you little. Start. Here I was doing something. Oh. Smelling the plug to see if there's fuel reaching the cylinder. And 1,000,000 kicks later, still don't start. At this point I felt such a loser. Now my bikes fire up with 1 kick. But as you can see, it's still doing some weird stuff, so let's investigate this further. So let's pull the plug. Plug seems fine. Must be fuel delivery issue. Oh, there is fuel going into the carb, as you can see here. That's why I just pulled off this fuel line. Strange. Let's tie this fuel tank onto the steering wheel so it can lay there safely without falling off. And I can just work on the carb. Okay, now I'm just checking the jets and cleaning them again and seeing if there's actually fuel flowing from the when I open the bed cook. So yeah, there was fuel flowing. So right now this bike is getting fuel. It has 130 psi compression, as we already know, and it has great spark. So, and the air filter is clean. So if it doesn't start now, then I think I'm gonna quit flipping bikes forever. So yeah, let's see. What will it do? Will it fire up? Let me know in the comment section what you think. Will it or won't it? Write it right now. You still have 5 seconds before I try to start this. Let's see, it's in neutral. Yes, it's in neutral. Alrighty. Let's try to start it. How many kicks will it take, you think, if it starts? We'll see. Whoa! What? Insane. First kick. It's still acting up. Oh, there we go. Doesn't she sound beautiful? Beautiful. Yes, she does. That's the sweet sound of victory right there, boy. However, she just idling too low, too slowly. So that's something else. Enjoy this fast-forwarded version of this motorcycle. It sounds like a race engine. Alright, now it's time to do an oil change. For this you take off the 17mm nut on the, or bolt on the right bottom end of the engine. Using a socket wrench is, or a breaker bar, is the best solution for this. Using a normal wrench can be a pain in the butt, since those bolts are pretty stuck on most of the times. Because a lot of these mini bikes, people never change the oil because they're 16, 17 years old and they don't even realize engines got oil in them. So here I'm showing you the color. As you can see, it's pitch black, so this oil hasn't been changed in forever, I think. So yeah, let's top her up with some fresh fuel and see how she runs now. I'm thinking it's gonna run a lot smoother since the oil was so black. That already sounds very smooth. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Right? Meow. Okay, I'm using this throttle cable to rev it since we don't have the kit in yet. As you can see, it's smoking a little bit. There's some of the old oil still burning up. It should clear up pretty soon. As you can see, it's idling super smooth now. No hiccups, low RPM. Sounds like a sewing machine. Or at least as smooth as a sewing machine. Alrighty then. Time for the next part. As you can see, I already painted the exhausts a little bit, or touched it up with some heat-resistant matte black paint, and the bike's outside. I put tape on everything that needs work, as you can see, and I already bondoed with spray putty. I sanded and used spray putty on the frame because there were some deep grooves in there, some scratches that I want to smoothen out, and then repaint that. I'm not repainting the whole frame, just the visible parts. Okay, right now it's time to do some sanding. At this point it started dripping, so took the bike inside to finish the sanding. That's an annoying sound in fast forward though. I ain't gonna lie. Then I clean it up a little bit, so it's ready for primer. I'm also touching up some small parts with the paint real quick. I'm cleaning the frame with brake cleaner. If you don't have IPA or isopropyl alcohol, brake cleaner is the second best thing you can use to get parts ready for paint. Now let's clean this front wheel. See what's the damage there. And as you're hopefully able to tell, the front wheel is pretty rough. It's pretty rough, pretty scuffed up, so definitely gonna repaint that. Also, never be this guy who just sprays some random fucking paint on it. Always spray some primer on bare metal first, or it won't stick. Same with plastic, but on plastic you use special primer if you can, but on bare metal, never. The only parts you don't need primer are painted surfaces you just scuffed up with the sand, like sand it down and put a new layer on top of other paint. You can do that. But on metal or bare plastic, you always need primer. Okay, let's see if we can somehow get this bike in the air. Don't have a lift yet. We don't need to lift it a lot, just a little bit, as you can see here. Just enough to check out this speedometer, because this one's also cooked. Okay, we finally got our new throttle cable set. Throttle grip, twist, blah blah. So yeah, let's install it. And this is the fuel tank. I've been grinding on 2 days for sanding and... Okay, so as you're able to tell probably from the video, that these bikes, if they're old and Chinese, like literally almost every part has been damaged or like is worn out, or yeah. So that's why I never recommend to buy those things. Never. Time to install our freshly painted fuel tank now. Let's pray it will look decent on the bike. I think it will. In what color would you have done the fuel tank, by the way? I was doubting black or red. It does look clean though. Do you agree? And at this point I discovered that the only bolt holding on the seat is loose, so that's another thing on these bikes. Like I said. Okay, we got it a little bit back together. Let's see how it runs now. Also, as you can see, I got new throttle grips, and I got these for free actually from a dude I bought a swing arm from a Dex for, and he asked me, "Do you want these?" I don't need them, and they fit this bike perfectly. They're huge. They're like from a Harley Davidson, but they fit though, and they look perfect with the black and chrome theme on this bike. The bike still is not running or idling or starting the way it should. Really hope we can fix that, because this is not the way it's supposed to run. Okay, so as you're able to tell, the bike is not running great, to say the least. So yeah, we already know we have cleaned out the carb, we have a good air filter, we have good compression, 130 psi, and we've got a brand new spark plug in it. So one last thing to check is air leaks, and that we're gonna do in a second. But first it's time to polish the fuel tank. I had painted it with clear coat, but it has to dry 3 days before it hardens up completely, and then you can polish to get the best results. And as you can see here, I managed to get pretty decent results considering the whole process was suboptimal. What do you think? Is this decent results or not? Now it's time to add some details to the bike by adding some decals, some red and black on the sides, and silver or chrome one on the fuel tank. I did like this look though. It kind of gave it some charisma. Okay, I'm just double checking everything now. Making sure everything is connected properly. All the fuel lines are none of the fuel lines are like stuck or anything or twisted. And then it's time to put the bike back together again and do our air leak test, and then we should be very good. Okay, so from final measures, I'm still gonna clean out the jets one more time, just so I'm 100% sure that the jets are clean as well. as you can see me do here. Sadly enough, I didn't record how I found it. I just sprayed brake cleaner onto the carb and inlet, and as you can see here, clearly, there's a huge difference and a huge gap between this side and this side, where this inlet manifold connects to the cylinder head, and that was our issue all along, I hope. So yeah, let's take off this bolt, see what's stripped. I hope it's the cylinder, not the cylinder, but just the bolt. And yeah, let's replace it with a new bolt, because I just discovered it's not the cylinder head, luckily. So yeah, this bolt is stuck. That's why I removed the fuel tank first, so I can pry it off. And here I'm just putting a brand new screw with the same thread size, and yeah, it works. Now the carb is stuck on there. I'm gonna test it out one more time with brake cleaner while it's idling, and we'll see how it runs now. Oh my god, at this point I'm raging. I'm like, this must have fixed it. There's no other way. And let's see. Did it fix it? What do you think? Let us know in the comment section right now. Here I'm just adjusting the idle and air screw a little bit. Turning up the idle a little bit. As you can see, the smoke is completely gone. By the way, there's no smoke coming out of the engine anymore. That was from the old oil. It seems to be idling very nice now. A bit high, but zero bugs. Oh, it revs nice as well. And it doesn't die. Let's take it for a little test spin and see if it's completely fixed. At this point, I can't even bother to tighten the bolt on this to hold on the seat. I just want to get this thing outside and see all my work paid off. I also cleaned the rear swing arm with paint stripper. That's why, and then polished it. That was another day of work. So yeah, you can imagine I've been working like 3 weeks on this thing. Every day, days of like 5-6 hours at least. So and then to end up without a profit was for me the worst feeling ever. But it was the biggest lesson I've learned, or the second biggest. For the biggest lesson, you've got to watch some other of my videos. By the way, the Scoopy on the side, the red bike you see on the side, the Honda Scoopy, 1983, 43 years old. I've done a complete makeover restoration of it. Check out my other videos on the channel for that. Okay, it's still idling fine. Let's see how it drives. I'm gonna do a small test drive now, and yeah. You can already hear, or you can already tell, it's like day and night difference with the oil swap, with the vacuum leak now gone, with the idle up a little bit. Like, it idles so smooth. You can, it's not like pop 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 boom pop 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 boom. It's like pop 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 pop. That's the sound you want an engine to make. Just constantly the same noise while idling. No going ups and downs in revs. No weird rattling noises. And now I'm not gonna say anything so you guys can enjoy the sound of this beautiful bike. one more thing. For future videos, you will notice that I won't do fast forwards unless it's like really necessary, but these were my first flips and I had so much to learn, and it took 5 times the time to do anything, and I had 5 times as much replay. That's why I needed to fast forward everything, because otherwise these videos would literally be 5 hours. So yeah. So they're gonna be way more instructional as well. Not just I'm doing this, but I'm gonna say how I'm doing it in the a bit more explained. But yeah, and just without fast forward. So make sure you subscribe. And this is the final clip I've made. This is the clip I've used to sell the bike as well online on Marketplace. So yeah. If you've been watching until now, I'm gonna reward you with the harsh truth about this flip. We sold it for $450. So this was the first flip I've actually made a loss. However, a few days later, I made $50 more on another bike, weirdly enough. So this bike was definitely a challenge, not so much mechanically, but also more mentally. All I can say is to never buy old Chinese bikes to flip. The combination of old and Chinese is just terrible. So this was definitely my worst flip so far. If you want to see how my best flip went, no, I'm gonna keep it in there. My best flip went, on the other hand, you can check it out by clicking the video on screen right now. And please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying my hardest to improve the content and upload frequency. I truly appreciate it. Have a blessed day.